All right, now we got a transit story coming out of Minnesota, a state that a lot of you said you would live in if it wasn't so darn cold. And Congress is trying to end federal funding for Minnesota transportation projects. Let's see what's going on here.
We're tracking your tax dollars tonight and some big public transportation projects. Minnesota's Republican congressional delegation wants to cut federal funding.
It would put the future of the North Star commuter rail, the proposed Blue Line extension, and the Northern Lights Express in question. Ben Henry live in Minneapolis tonight with why they want the cuts and the pushback it's getting. Ben?
Kevin and Lindsay, one rail line is already rolling, two are still in planning, but now all three could be on a rocky track ahead. Those still pushing for the projects, and the funding say, though, they're needed for the entire state's economy. The future of major Minnesota rail lines and projects could soon find themselves off the track. In order for them to run, federal funds need to roll in, but outlined in this letter, Minnesota's Republican congressional delegation is urging Congress to halt funding. It says there's been a collapse in ridership on the North Star commuter rail connecting Minneapolis and Big Lake. For the Blue Line light rail extension, a planned link between downtown Minneapolis and Brooklyn Park, weekday riders projected has been more than halved since its inception. It also raises concerns about the total cost and ridership of the proposed Northern Lights Express, which would connect the Twin Cities and Duluth, saying any future federal investment should be closely scrutinized and all short-term funding for these specific projects should be eliminated.
We need federal partners to make these happen. If they follow through with that, very difficult for us to follow through.
But the call for cuts is getting pushback.
Well, I'm very disappointed.
Minneapolis Council member Michael Rainville says all three projects touch his ward.
It's time to prime the pump, not cut off the electricity.
He also sits on the Northern Lights Express board.
I would just hope that cooler heads prevail and see the opportunity to create jobs, good paying union jobs, and create an economic benefit to not just the North Loop of Minneapolis, but the whole city and the economic engine of Minnesota.
We reached out to every member of Minnesota's congressional delegation to get their take on this in an interview, but did not hear back. Let's wrap up talking about where these three projects stand right now, the three under the spotlight. The North Star commuter rail is transitioning to a bus line to save money. The latest budget projection for the Blue Line extension was around $3 billion. And right now, the total for the Northern Lights Express train is around $600 million.
All right, so this kind of opens up an age-old debate that's been going on here in the U.S. regarding the funding for transit, and is it really is the cost worth the benefit? And as you can see, we got the numbers right here. Let's go look at Minneapolis real quick. Now when I was in Minneapolis, I did ride both the green and the blue line multiple times. And I didn't really see either one of them all that busy, except at rush hour. There were a good amount of people using the blue line at rush hour. Let's see the transit map here. So this is the blue line right here that runs from the Mall of America to downtown. The green line runs out here to St. Paul. So the Republicans are arguing that not enough people are using this to justify the cost of funding these projects. And the extension that they're talking about to Brooklyn Park will be running out in this direction. So, and then they're talking about this express up to Duluth. So it begs the question, with the amount of ridership that these lines get or are projected to get, is it worth it? Now, these guys in the video did say the ridership projections were cut in half, and I was in Minneapolis in 2023, and now it was cool to ride these lines. It was cool to ride these lines, but there really weren't that many people on them. But
million, all of that.
So do these Republicans have a point, or do you guys think this is all just political? Do they have a point with cutting funding here? Is it justified due to the ridership, especially if you live in the Minneapolis area and you're very familiar with these? I mean, I was only there for a month or so. But $3 billion is a lot of money when it comes to infrastructure. So for the amount of people that are projected to use the Blue Line extension, is $3 billion worth it? Now, I think the Blue Line extension was already under construction. Let's see where we stand with that. The Blue Line extension.
It will serve some of our region's most diverse communities. Robbinsdale, Crystal, and Minneapolis will be connected to downtown Minneapolis, MSP Airport, Mall of America, and countless.
Okay, so it's it would be a northern extension up here, coming back down into Minneapolis. Okay. Let's see if there's any updates on the project. Oh, okay, never mind. So the Blue Line is not under construction just yet. The procurement timeline, so they haven't awarded any contracts, so it's not in progress just yet. Okay, so the Republicans are trying to cut this off before it even gets started. Construction was supposed to begin in 2027. So you guys let me know if you think this $3 billion is worth it to get this rail line built from downtown Minneapolis up to Brooklyn Park right here. We shall see how this plays out. But you know, Minnesota's governor and Donald Trump aren't exactly buddies, so we'll see. We shall see. Let me see what some of the comments say. The comments are probably very interesting on this one. Let's see what the comments say. Okay, it says it would make more sense to talk to people who actually use it or want to use it rather than people who would never ride it. But nobody questions road money. Road money, uh-oh. We got the road and the transit debate battle going on here in the comments. Blue states versus red states. Someone's getting rich. We spend billions on terrible highways. Why do people hate transit? Create more pedestrian-friendly areas. Introduce congestion pricing. In Minneapolis, you think congestion pricing will work? All right, that's enough of that. All right, let's go on to the next story. But that's the feds trying to pull money from Minnesota transportation projects, ladies and gentlemen.